fue, tu amor se me fue, y se me fue, tu amor se me fue. Aunque te vas tan lejos de mí, esta mañana aquí yo siento solo una vez más a tus labios, a tus brazos, al calor de tu piel. Quiero sentir el olor del pelo, quiero probar si sale un beso. Tengo solo I want again to see you, I can't say goodbye. I want again that feeling that I felt inside. I cannot say goodbye, so until next time, we won't say goodbye. Hang on to these times, let's not say goodbye. Aquí, el principio del fin, en el alma llevo el dolor de olvidar. Acércate de mí para no pensar más, para no acordar que mañana te vas. Que se me fue, tu amor se me fue. Que se me fue, tu amor se me fue. Por este momento estás conmigo y mañana, ¿quién lo explica a mi corazón triste? Dime tú, ¿cómo lo explico a mi corazón triste? Quiero sentir el olor del pelo, quiero probar sal de un beso. Tengo to see you, I can't say goodbye. I want to get that feeling that cosas que no pude decirte. Aquí está mi corazón, yo te doy mi corazón, te lo doy entre toda mi vida. Solo yo lo daré una vez y eres tú quien escojo.
Y eres tú quien escojo.
Te doy mi todo, te doy mi todo.
Escucha al viento contarte cómo siento, que te besa en el oído, que me sientes. Espero que lo puedas escuchar, mi llanto ventoso contarte que
Aquí está mi corazón, yo te doy mi corazón, te lo doy.
Good evening, everyone. We are going to go ahead and invite you, if you'd like, to form a line to start grabbing some hors d'oeuvres. We'd love to get the program started as close to 6 o'clock as possible, so please feel free to go ahead and go through our line over there. And we'll get started in just a few minutes.
Te doy mi todo, te doy mi todo. Eres tú quien escojo. 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 Escúchenme, hermanos, por un momento más. Les traigo aquí mensaje que deben recordar. Aquí resultamos todos juntos, unos por querer, otros por casualidad. El sufrimiento de los mayores no se puede, no se debe olvidar. Nuestros abuelos, ellos duraron mucho, así vivimos libres sin pensar. Tienes que saber de dónde vienes, así puedes entender para dónde vas. Es lo más recuerdativo de quién tú eres, de dónde eres por lo que hemos sufrido. Siempre vivimos juntos y unidos, más fuertes, más vivos, por lo que hemos sufrido. Y es que sabes de dónde vienes, así puedes entender para dónde vas. Es lo más recordativo de quién tú eres, de dónde vienes y para dónde vas. Protegerán nuestra vida y la manera de vivir. Siempre seguimos juntos y unidos, más fuertes, más vivos, por lo que hemos sufrido. Siempre vivimos juntos y unidos, más fuertes, más vivos, por lo que hemos sufrido. Siempre seguimos más fuertes, más vivos, por lo que hemos sufrido. Siempre seguimos juntos y tú y yo. Una vida sin frontera ni barrera debe ser. Olvidamos alma nunca el sufrimiento de los mayores. Y si ahora no se hace, dime cuándo se va a hacer. Eso
All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get the program started in about 5 minutes. So if you haven't, please get in line for some hors d'oeuvres, and we'll try to get everyone seated as quickly as possible. We've got a wonderful program tonight, and we'd love to get started, okay? 5 minutes. All right, good evening again, everyone, and thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I know some of you are still up getting your hors d'oeuvres. Please feel free to continue going through the line as much as you'd like throughout the evening, but we're going to go ahead and get started just so that we can really give the much earned time to all of the wonderful folks that we're inducting into our Hall of Fame this evening. So my name is Dr. Curtis Garcia, and I serve as the director of the School of Education at Adams State University. And I just want to say welcome and thank you all very much for being here with us tonight for the induction ceremony for the Educator Hall of Fame class of 2023. Let's give them a big round of applause, please. So we are going to kick off our evening with a rendition of the Alma Mater for Adams State, performed by Autumn Yoakum. So I'm going to invite Autumn up now to sing that for us.
Oh, Adams State, we sing our praise to thee. Our voices raise in fervent loyalty. Thy sons and daughters heed thy call to praise thy name to all. From the crested peaks and the Rio Grande, thy fame shall spread o'er all the land. O Adams State, faithful will be. O Adams State, we pledge our all to thee. To Adams State we sing our loyalty.
Thank you very much, Autumn. That was beautiful, wasn't it? Well, I've had the privilege of serving as the director of the School of Education here at Adams State, where for 102 years now, we've carried out the university's statutory mission of preparing high-quality teachers and school administrators to serve our communities. And I have not personally been there for all 102 years of our history, but I have been around long enough to see the true impact that our graduates of teacher education have had on our local communities across the San Luis Valley, across the state, and indeed across the world. I grew up right here in the San Luis Valley, and I owe so much of my own education to the amazing teachers I had, many of whom got their start right here at Adams State University. In fact, one of our inductees this evening was my science teacher at Alamosa High School, Miss Ann Stanford. And it gives me such great privilege to be here tonight to celebrate this evening with her and so many other amazing educators whose passion and dedication to this field has earned them a place in the Educator Hall of Fame class of 2023. Tonight we're going to hear about the wonderful careers that each of our inductees has led and the countless lives that they've touched through their teaching, their leadership, and their service. But before we begin, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank some folks who have helped to make this evening possible. So first, I'd like to acknowledge the members of the Educator Hall of Fame Committee who are individually listed in your programs. I think it's on page 2 of the program. If you're a member of our committee and you're present, would you please stand and be recognized? Each year, the members of our committee contribute to this event by soliciting and reviewing all of the nominations that we receive, and we are grateful to them for their service and their time. Also, a special thanks to Ted Morrison, whose vision for recognizing outstanding members of the Adams State community led to the founding of the Educator Hall of Fame over 11 years ago. Thank you very much, Ted. A special thank you to Ashley Mestas and our Alumni and Engagement Office who supported the School of Education in sponsoring tonight's event. Ashley, would you be recognized, please? And a special thanks to Dr. Stephanie Hensley, who serves on our committee, and to the students and staff of Center Consolidated School District. They are the ones who provided the art centerpieces that you will see at your tables this evening, along with that lovely sculpture over there by the drinks that says La Llorona on it. If you're not familiar with the legend, there are some booklets there that the students made to help you learn that. So please take one and drink up a little bit of cultural history while you're here tonight. Thank you, Stephanie, for that. I want to thank the members of the staff at the School of Education whose hard work in coordinating all of the logistics for this event made this evening possible. Thank you to Angela Madrid, our administrative assistant, Paul Clark, our program coordinator, and Chrissy McKinney, our program coordinator, for everything that you've done to get tonight organized. Also, thank you to the staff here at the Army National Guard and for Jeremy Jaramillo, who's making it possible to stream this event live on YouTube for those who are unable to join us physically. So yes, we are live, folks, and we are being streamed on YouTube for folks who can't be with us tonight. And another big thanks to our staff at the ASU Print Shop for their help with our programs, and to Lynn Bogle and the Rocky Mountain Memorabilia for the custom tiles that each of our inductees will be getting this evening. You have the tiles which you can view over here on this table, and then we've got individual tiles that we'll be sharing with each of our inductees as we recognize them tonight. And finally, a big thank you to Mr. Curtis Wilson for serving as our Master of Ceremonies, and to President Dr. David Tanberg for serving as our keynote speaker this evening. And so, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Curtis Wilson, to lead us through the rest of this evening's event. Please give him a hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, what an honor and sincere privilege to be in the midst of people who have had impact, with people that would rather suffer material loss, personal indignity, and imposition at the hand of an enemy rather than fail whom they served. In fact, there's a couple on this list that influenced me personally, as I am a product of Adams State, teacher education department, and just finished a 32-year career serving the very district from which I graduated. A couple of our inductees were those that had a pat on the back for me, and in Lois Widhelm's case, a kick in the opposite end. I appreciate that. What a privilege and honor to be able to recognize great people that took opportunity to do great things. Webster's defines opportunity as a favorable combination of time, circumstance, and place. But tonight is certainly the time and the place, and this is the circumstance. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. With that, I have the privilege of introducing Dr. David Tanberg, University President. And I would say this, as he has been under fire for a little bit and gone through the mill. Mark Twain once wrote that a man walking down the street holding a cat by the tail is gaining twice the experience as the man sitting on the curb watching. But what we hear and what we see are positive, and we put our efforts behind him and support and sustain him in those efforts to a great university. With that, may I introduce Dr. David Tanberg. How about a big hand?
Of all the events that I've been able to attend since I became interim president about a year ago, and I've been to a lot, usually several every week, and sometimes I deliver welcomes, sometimes I deliver speeches, and sometimes I get the honor of doing nothing but sitting and watching. Of all those events, I think this is the one that has the most meaning. And this is the one where I've told my wife there are few things that make me nervous. Public speaking, fortunately, is not one. But this one hits a little bit, and it's because of its real importance and its personal importance to me. I too am a product of the School of Education at Adams State. I got my bachelor's degree in secondary ed social studies. I student taught at Alamosa High School, was a teacher in the regional migrant education program when it was part of the BOCES, and then went and got my master's and doctoral degree at Penn State, and my doctoral degree was from the College of Education there, and have worked at some level and in some way in education my entire life, and it's always been more than just a profession. I think most of you, all of you here, probably recognize that when you enter the field of education, it usually comes with a sense of a higher purpose and a deeper meaning, and I certainly felt that. And in fact, the entire Tamberg family does. When I was a professor at Florida State University, Darren, my wife, was an early childhood educator. Our daughter is now a secondary ed social studies teacher up at Legend High School in Parker. Our son teaches in outdoor education, and our youngest, who is at Alamosa High School, wants to go into special education. And you know, it's not uncommon that you see generations of educators in the same family. So why? What is this higher purpose? What is this deeper meaning? Well, I think we can look to the founding of Adams State and the motivation of Billy Adams and his supporters in locating a university here in the beautiful San Luis Valley. I can recall my experience as a student, and I wasn't a very good one when I was before I got into college, but yet I can pick out individual teachers that saw beyond my goofiness and my bad spelling and my poor handwriting, and who had a abiding impact on me that planted the seed that later bore fruit in me deciding to go into education. I remember one teacher in elementary school, and I was a horrible, horrible speller. Still am, by the way. Thank goodness for spell check, right? It makes us all look just that much smarter. And had poor handwriting, still do. And yet she was like, David, you could be a really good writer. And it was Mrs. Empsch at Highland Elementary School. And then later, she must have talked to another teacher, and I'd written a story. I called it a book, and I bound it with yarn. You remember how you used to punch holes and bind it with yarn? And she took it and put it in Mrs. Empsch's box with a note and said, look, David became a writer. I was so dang proud. I was like, yeah. And later, I took a philosophy class in high school. And that's when I decided that I was a transcendentalist, right? I read Thoreau and Emerson and Whitman and like, wow, I don't really understand what they're saying, but it's making an impact, right? And it was those seeds, right? A subtle liberation of my mind, a subtle expansion of my possibility for myself, of my potential, little seeds planted by exceptional teachers. And then, as a college student at Adams State, with little direction, whose dreams of becoming an Olympic distance runner crashed and burned in the face of much better runners at Adams State, and little direction and no sense of my academic potential, I wrote an essay about the heart of darkness. And Dr. Baker wrote a little note at the bottom and said, David, this is fantastic. You have great potential, and it shows. And that note changed the course of my life. I realized, hey, maybe I'm better than I think I am. Maybe I have greater potential than I think I have. And I started dedicating myself to my education, and I learned I'm good at this. I like this. and I like how it makes me feel and think, and I decided at that point to go into secondary education. The research shows that nothing has as big an impact on a student's outcomes, perceptions, academic potential, and achievement than a teacher. Principals have impact, superintendents have impact, curricular design has impact, but all of it pales in comparison to the potential impact of an individual teacher. That's my life. It was individual teachers having impact in the face of many teachers that I've forgotten, right? And what that tells me is the decisions, the actions of those ones I remember were incredible. And it's the accumulation of those individual teachers who care enough, who are dedicated enough, who have been well enough trained, that changes societies, that changes regions. And that's why Adams State was put here in the San Luis Valley. It's the liberation of minds and people. It's the expansion of potential and opportunity. It's economic mobility. It's culture. It's all those things. And they are the result. They are directly dependent on the quality of the teacher. Those high ambitions would not be realized without well-trained, dedicated, hardworking, individual people, teachers, interacting with individual students. Many of those students, those of us who are teachers, don't want to be in the classroom, don't understand why they're there, and yet we're charged with expanding their minds, helping them realize their worth. And it's such a beautiful thing. And Adams State was put here to provide that opportunity, to provide that impact in a region that otherwise would not have been so well served. We were charged with taking individual students and turning them into exceptional teachers who could then richly bless this beautiful region of Colorado. And I would say we've been tremendously successful. 73% of teachers and administrators in the San Luis Valley were educated at Adams State. Our teacher education accreditation, the awards we've received from the state, the federal government, and others all testify to how well we've done. But way more than that, way more important than that, you can simply walk into any school, from Center to Alamosa to Centauri to Sargent, any school in the valley, and observe exceptional teachers, expanding minds, liberating minds, benefiting the students, helping them realize that they are so much greater than they think they are. And then they enroll in Adams State, and we turn them into fine teachers who go again into classrooms and liberate minds, people, and bless this beautiful San Luis Valley. It was so enjoyable to take some time to read the bios of the inductees for today, some of whom I know, some of whom I just learned about as I read the bios, and they're such fine examples of teachers who are remembered, who are teachers who, if they were giving this speech, would say, I remember when so-and-so said this, did that, pulled me aside and talked to me and told me that I'm better than I think I am, and I need to buckle down and get to work. Teachers who inspired them with words of philosophers, of mathematicians, etc. They're the ones who are remembered. They're the ones who are remembered by a 47-year-old like myself, reflecting back on his life and the pivotal moments. They're the ones who are named by name. And that's such an incredible, beautiful thing. Those of us at Adams State, we reflect a lot on the impact of education at the meta level, on society, etc. But we must remember that that societal impact, the improvement of our democracy, of economic development, etc., It is the result of an individual teacher impacting an individual student, and that accumulation of impact is what makes it so valuable at a societal level. It is dependent on teachers like those who are inducted today. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I would not be here today were it not for people like you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tanberg. We appreciate your, look forward to working with you in the service of Adams State. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to explain the process as we go through tonight as we begin to honor our educators. After you are introduced and your biographical sketch is read, we ask that you come up here. Dr. Garcia will present you with your tile and a couple extra nice gifts. And then we would like to turn the time over to you to say a few words. Want to explain for the inductees, the last thing we want to put you through tonight is to endure a staff meeting. You remember staff meetings. Perhaps your mind has suppressed those experiences. We want to give you an opportunity to say thank you. If we could keep those remarks to about 2 minutes, we would appreciate that. We have 13 inductees, and certainly after the presentation of your plaque and honor you to the level that you have earned, afterwards we have pictures to be taken as a group and individually, so we want to certainly give time for that. So thank you so much. We will begin tonight's process by honoring our elementary educators. And tonight, first of all, we would start with Eileen and Parley Johnson III. They will not be with us tonight. We will go ahead and honor them for the careers that they have had and their reflection upon Adams State. Eileen received her BA degree from Adams State College in 1980. Jay received his BA degree from Adams State College in 1981. Both received a colloquy degree from Concordia University in 1995. They both have 27 years of service to education. Their story began in the fall of 1979 when they met at Adams State. Eileen was entering her junior year with intentions of obtaining an elementary degree, a minor in special education, and an emphasis in early childhood education. Her plans were to work with young children as a director and teacher in a preschool or daycare center. Jay was a transfer student looking forward to participating as an Adams State Indian, then Grizzly now, on the basketball court and completing his degree in secondary education as a PE major with the goal of teaching PE and coaching men's basketball at the high school level. But God had different plans for Jay. The Johnsons married in 1981 and have been blessed with 2 sons, Steve and Scott, 2 daughters-in-law, Emily and Lindsay, and 4 grandchildren, Isabel, Britton, Genevieve, and Connor. Jay spent some years in public schools teaching and coaching middle school students. Eileen taught and worked as a co-director of a Lutheran preschool in Aurora, Colorado. In 1995, both decided to obtain a colloquy degree, 22 hours of coursework from Concordia University, Seward, Nebraska. Since then, they have enjoyed being a team, working in Lutheran schools in different communities in Colorado and Nebraska. They were blessed to be on staff together. At one time, they were 2 of the 3 elementary teachers. It was their goal to work in Lutheran elementary schools, developing curriculum and generating positive school climate. They wanted to develop a sense of community through activities such as starting sports teams, competition, all-school plays, outdoor education, end-of-the-year 8th grade trips, clubs, after-school programs, and family nights. In that time, they were able to not only work with students in the classroom, but to collaborate and initiate many successful programs. Jay taught grades 3 through 8 with 4 years as a principal. Eileen taught preschool 3-year-olds through 4th graders. The Johnsons both served in the Lutheran Church and since 2019 have volunteered many hours at Trinity Lutheran Church and schools in Alamosa. Their words, and I quote, "Our time at Adams State impacted us more than we realized, giving us opportunities of which we are very grateful. Our experience at Adams State continues to impact us today. Let us honor Eileen and Parley Johnson. Our next elementary educator to be honored and inductee is Sally Schultz. In 1970, Sally began a teaching career in Jefferson County School District. She taught at Edgewater Elementary for 2 years and then moved to Mulholm Elementary in 1972. She taught at Mulholm until she retired in 2003, teaching kindergarten, first and second grades. She introduced multi-age grouping where the teacher continues with her class for 3 years. She tutored elementary students and taught teachers recertification courses for Adams State for 10 years. She promoted the Study Buddy program of peer tutoring, taught and directed Jefferson County kindergarten guidelines to new teachers, and wrote the second grade language arts guide for poetry for Jefferson County schools. In the 1990s, Sally introduced the Make and Take program, in which parents came to the classroom and made teaching materials to use at home with their children. She demonstrated to the parents what and how she taught the material. The parents were able to walk away with knowledge of what their children's day looked like, as well as a project to take home to increase their children's learning. Sally was listed in Who's Who among colleges and universities, recognized as outstanding teacher with potential, received the Principal's Award for Continued Educational Excellence, honored by both the Mayor of Lakewood and a Colorado State Senator for her role in education. A former student, Jason Eggerman of Casper, Wyoming, credited her with being his greatest influence in becoming a teacher. As the mother of a daughter, Mandy Schultz-Vogel, and the grandmother of 3 women, all attending college at the same time, Sally is the quintessential matriarch. In retirement, Sally has helped her daughter play golf, volunteered at a store benefiting Children's Hospital, and she has remained friends with many former students. I quote her, "I believe that we as teachers have the ability to positively give all children who enter our classrooms endless possibilities. I firmly believe positive relationships begin the chain of achievement. I have witnessed many success stories." A comment from a former student that Miss Sally Schultz is the epitome of human connection. She took many 5, 6, and 7-year-olds in those 34 years and helped us feel loved, smart, talented, and supported. She taught us to hold hands and stick together, to play fair and love hard. She showed us that nap time is the most important time of every day. And when we did something wrong, it was a good idea to apologize. She gave us confidence, taught children to tie shoes, and that 1 + 1 = 2. She loved us like we were her own. She laughed a contagious and genuine laugh and held her own among all us little year after year after year. She taught us to make those miracles happen on our own. She did it with all the humility and grace. I can only hope it somehow rubbed off a little on me. If there was ever a teacher to have this award, it is Miss Sally Schultz. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a hand for Sally Schultz.
Oh my, I just have to stand and take it all in. The end of this month, I turned 75. And in my 75 years, I never dreamed I would be standing here in front of you. I thank Adams State University. I thank the committee. I thank the servers. I thank everyone in the whole wide world because that's how happy I am right now. I had a good career, and I thank Adams State for that. When I was here, it was the college. So my habit is to say Adams State College. Congratulations on being a university. Some things have been said that I might have shared. Do want to mention Dean Ezell, who was women's dean in 1966, a long, long time ago. She was teaching a class that I was taking, and she taught and she taught and she taught. And finally, the hour was about up, and she said, "If you never learn anything else, listen to this." She said, "Every student who ever walks into your classroom has these thoughts. Will he, she like me? Is he, she nice? Will I do okay? Will I make friends?" And that stuck with me because just before walking into her classroom, I had those thoughts. The hour was up, we started to get up, and she said, No, I have one more thing I need to tell you. She said, if you stick with your career in education, you will see miracles. And I did. Not just one, not just two. The trick was, according to her, be able to recognize them. And I've got stories year after year after year. Thank you again, Adams State University, for giving me a wonderful career. And I have to reintroduce my dear friend, Dr. Liz Watts, and it's important for all of you to know that she was my roommate, 1966, at Casa Bonita, and we've been friends all these years. Thank you, Adams State College University, for setting us up together. It was a good fit. And I'm not just talking about Adams State College. Year after year, we've attended activities, events, funerals, births. She's a part of my family, and I'm a part of hers. I asked her to come up tonight and stand with me, and she said no. Tonight is about you. But don't you agree with me? 50-plus year friendship that started at Casa Bonita. Thank you for that. Thank you for everything. I'm thrilled. Thank you.
We will proceed with our final elementary educator to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. May I introduce Kathy Soden. Kathy received her BA degree from Adams State College in 1989. She dedicated 30 years to the educational field. Kathy was born and raised in Alamosa. She is a third-generation alumni of Adams State, receiving her BA in special education and elementary education in 1989. Kathy experienced a full year of student teaching with her double major. In the fall, she traveled to Loveland, Colorado for special education, and spring semester brought her back to Alamosa to finish at Boyd Elementary. Back in the day, securing a teaching position was quite competitive. Kathy felt it necessary to accept the first position offered to her, so she headed east to teach in Rocky Ford. They were in need of a special education teacher, but when she arrived, changes were made, and she was placed in kindergarten. Little did she know that fate had found her niche, and she would teach kindergarten for the next 30 years. Kathy embraced the small town of Rocky Ford by volunteering, fundraising, coaching in summer recreational programs, and participating in community events. Kathy met and married a Rocky Ford native, Jeremy Soden. They have two wonderful sons, Bo, class of 2016, and Sawyer, class of 2020. Kathy put her whole heart and soul into teaching. Her infectious, entertaining personality made learning fun and enjoyable. Not only did she connect with her students, she understood that connecting with their families was just as important. She enforced an open-door policy that made parents feel welcome to be a part of their child's education. Engagement was a huge part of her teaching style. She made learning memorable by wearing her story ears and other crazy hats, dressing up as story characters, making up songs and singing constantly, filling the hallways with joy. Administrators were constantly sending prospective teachers Kathy's way to ensure a positive mentoring experience. Many of her own students are now teaching because of her encouragement and guidance. Her extracurricular activities included coaching volleyball, basketball, track and field, storytellers, a second grade music program assistant director, conference on the plains presenter, capturing kids' heart presenter, balanced writing development team, Santa Fe Trails BOCES, and featured teacher in chalkbeat.org 2020. A comment from a former colleague, quote, "When high school students still talk about their kindergarten teacher, you don't need to ask yourself if she left a legacy. They don't make them like you anymore," end quote. Ladies and gentlemen, Kathy Soden.
Thank you. I think, Sally, you and I would be like besties for sure. I was like, oh, maybe I'll come out of retirement and use some of her ideas. Thank you, Ted Morrison, for nominating me. That was very special. I'll explain the story years because they should be explained. When I taught, I would put the ears on, and then I taught the kids that it was time for a story. So magically, I kid you not, just magically, if I put them on, I never said it was time for story time. I just put them on and they would just fall in and fall down. And it was beautiful. So it just became something that I wore pretty much every day. Sometimes I'd be at the bank, or, I'd go to the grocery store and they'd say, "Mrs. Soden, your ears are still on." So if anybody needs to borrow the ears, I have them. I think they would work for any type of office get-together or something. People will listen to you. I just loved teaching. I didn't even know and thank you to Adams State because they directed me in the right way. I was an undecided freshman, not sure what I wanted to do, went in and got my requirements, did what I was supposed to do. And I think they just guided me in the right direction, and it was the perfect direction because it was the perfect thing for me. My heart was in special ed, which actually helped me later on with the students that I did have. In small towns, you put on lots of different hats, and so I got to teach a lot of my special ed kids too and saw great potential in them as well. And I have to thank Adams State for that because they surely helped me in that way. I then went to Rocky Ford, which is this little town, and instead of apples, they give you melons, which is super nice. And they just have just a town that everybody just comes together. All the teachers have the same vision of love first, teach second, and it just embraced me, and I embraced them, and it was a wonderful time. I taught with very many wonderful teachers and was very blessed. I have to also thank my parents, Chuck and Becky Owsley. My dad has a great sense of humor and a love for people, which is a great trait to have as a teacher. I think you must have a sense of humor. My mom, is the most kindest, most wonderful person in the world, and taught me to accept all and be compassionate to all. And so I always respect her for that as well. My husband, Jeremy, for being so supportive, and after about 10 years, he stopped saying, "Are you done yet? Are you done?" "No, I'm never done." And bringing it home every day. All the spouses and significant others understand that we bring it home every day. And my boys for sharing their mommy, because I was super popular with anybody that was 4 feet tall, so they had to share their mommy for years, and so I appreciate that. And just thank you very much. I'm a big hugger, and this is like the biggest hug I've ever gotten in the world, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy, and that concludes the elementary educators. We will proceed with our secondary educators. We will proceed by honoring James Lujan. James graduated from Adams State College with his BA degree in 1979 and his master's degree in 1987. He has been an educator for 30 years. He has an extremely great list of honors and special awards. In 1997, Educators Fellowship of America Scholarship of Breadloaf School of English. 93 to 99, a 5-time Arizona High School cross-country Coach of the Year. 1999 finalist for the National High School Coach of the Year for cross country. 97, 98, and 99, Special Olympic Regional Meet Coordinator for the Navajo Hopi Special Olympics. 91 through 2000, Advisor Coach for the Earth Circle Foundation, Wings of American projects promoting healthy living through sports among young Native Americans. In 1993, USA Boys National Junior Cross Country Champions. And in 80 through 2008, coached over 30 high school cross-country team champions in track and cross-country. He coached 5 Arizona high school cross-country team champions. In addition to the above accomplishments, James was also an elementary lab coordinator, which oversaw a 30% increase in literacy scores after 3 years. He also taught special needs and homebound students for 8 years. James served as a volunteer for the mental health community in Pueblo, Colorado, and has been an inspirational speaker at interfaith churches that support all faiths and all people's rights. James is married to Charlotte Lujan. He is a dedicated husband and father of 6 children, one a special needs child who has by far exceeded his life expectancy at birth. Lastly, as a Vietnam veteran, James thanks the VA and Colorado for supporting his education through the GI Bill. Without their support, he is not certain if he would have ever attended college. Ladies and gentlemen, James Lujan.
Yes. That's my father, James Lujan. And, you know, I prepared a speech for this and didn't realize kind of how the format was going to go. And we've already kind of heard his credentials. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about who my father is to me. I'm representing my family right now. I have my sister, my partner. I've got some cousins, my uncle. And we couldn't be prouder of our father, of who he is, of who he helps us to be. Saying my father has been dedicated to education would be an understatement. He is dedicated to learning. As a matter of fact, I think that's why he looks so young. He's about 75 years old, and I think it's his will and his passion and desire to continue learning that keeps him young. And he's continued teaching us through our lives, now passing that wisdom and knowledge on to his grandchildren, including my niece Matea, his grandchild, who's here right now. The type of person James Lujan, my father, is somebody who empowers people, somebody who helps them to see their value. He plants those seeds that later blossom, that later turn into bear great fruit. And he's done it through his teaching with his students. He's done it through coaching with his athletes. He's done it with his children. We're all better because of our father's pursuit of knowledge, because of his dedication to learning, his dedication to education. I can sit here and talk about his accolades and his resume, but you can read it on the program. Really, what I want you to leave with today is just recognizing and understanding how wonderful of a human and how privileged we are to have someone like my father in this world. We are privileged because he continues to plant positive seeds of change in people. And that peace, I know, comes fully to fruition when those of us who have that seed imprinted in us we realize our full potential. So I just want to be one of many who should honor my father for this great achievement and the continued achievements. Thank you so much, Dad. I love you. James Lujan, everybody.
Our next honoree will be Jerry Schlafman. Jerry graduated from Adams State College in 1965 with his BA degree, followed in 1970 with his MA degree. He was an educator for 30 years. Jerry attributes Adams State with giving him the opportunity to become successful. While attending Adams State, Jerry did not do well the first time and is thankful to Adams State and the faculty for being very helpful and understanding. After graduation, Jerry was employed by Aurora Public Schools. He was hired to teach and coach at Hinckley High School and was there for 30 years in a variety of positions. Jerry coached wrestling for 16 years and had a record of 100 wins and 49 losses. He was also the boys' soccer coach, rated 5 years. Jerry was a faculty member in the business department and served as the department chair and FBLA sponsor. He was part of the counseling department for 2 years and was later moved to administration where he served as the assistant principal. Jerry is still active with hunting, fishing, and golf. Currently, he is the president of the Alumni Denver chapter and stays very busy with the many activities. Comments from Jerry. The excitement is when a student gets it. The light comes on in the classroom or with a win athletically. Education is the key. A little or a lot, it makes the difference. The honor of being included in the Educators Hall of Fame is very exciting, and the idea that I am a part of this group is beyond any award I have ever received. Adams State made all of this possible. If I had to do it over again, I would be the first in line. Comments from a former student. Being a first-generation college student, Jerry is one of the only reasons I chose to go to college, and wrestling provided me with that opportunity. I ended up following in Jerry's footsteps, heading to Adams State after a short stop at CU. My time there as a student athlete was filled with so many blessings. I decided to continue to follow Jerry and get my business education endorsement so I could also coach. I am personally indebted to Jerry and his influence in my professional life. The teaching and coaching philosophy Jerry instilled have been the basis for most of the success I have had. His compassion for and toughness on his students and athletes were always evident. Jerry inspired numerous students and athletes to achieve well beyond their dreams. For this reason, I can think of no one more deserving than Jerry for the recognition in the Educators Hall of Fame. Jerry Schlafman.
Get it down where I can reach it. First of all, I want to thank the people that helped me along the way. My family has influenced me a lot. They helped me through tough times, and they were just there. I want to thank Liz for nominating me to be in this distinguished group of people here, and I'm honored. There's no question about it. But let me back up just a little bit. When I graduated from high school, I had a bunch of offers to wrestle, scholarships and like that, and I chose a school up north, Colorado A&M at the time, now it's CSU. That's where I didn't do well. It wasn't at Adams State, so we got that part right. But anyway, to get what happened after I basically didn't do well up at CSU, I bummed around Golden for about 3 years, and I was working in a mine. I was 850 feet down, about a mile under this mountain, and I'm on my knees with another guy, and we got pics with our lights on and everything. And he says, "What are you doing? I looked at him and I thought, well, I'm working. What do you think I'm doing? He says, are you an idiot? You want to do this when you're my age? He was 41. I thought he was ancient, but he wasn't. But anyway, he said, you get out of here and you go back to school. And that's what I did. I ended up the summer that I was working, and I went up to Greeley. I was looking for places to go to work or to school. Greeley, I was not impressed. I went to Western State. They were, okay. I went over to Mesa and Grand Junction, and they didn't do it. So I come down to Adams State, and they welcomed me with open arms. That's probably the best thing that ever happened to me, without a doubt. After that, I started working on my master's degree. And if you guys that got your master's down here, to get into the program, you had to have you had to take the Miller Analogy Test and an English Comprehensive Test. I took those, of course, and the results came in. Needless to say, I got a note from the dean of the college to come and see him. And I'm thinking, oh God, I got to take these tests again. Well, come to find out, he says, I don't know what you did, but you did it real well because you bypassed the number to get into the master's degree. You could skip that and start a doctorate program. If Adams had one at that time, I'd been right there, baby. There's no question about it. But this is, Adams took care of me. We did a lot of things back in 1960s. God, I'm old. But anyway, it turned out well. I got a lot of help along the way. People were understanding. It was just a super way to be. And I'm thankful, the committee, and like I say, everybody that helped me along the way, I'm forever thankful. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Donald Smolin. Donald received his BA degree from Adams State College in 1970 and his master's from Keene University, 1976. He had 50 years of service in education. Following Donald's graduation from Arthur Johnson High School in Clark, New Jersey, his undergraduate studies began at Seton Hall University. In the spring of 1968, he transferred to Adams State College, where he studied health and physical education and was a member of the football team. Looking back, Donald is thankful to Adams State, through its professors and coaches, for giving him the structure, support, and encouragement to complete his degree. Donald started his teaching and football coaching career in 1971 at Greenbrook High School in Greenbrook, New Jersey. In the fall of 1976, he began a 45-year career at Lenape Valley High School in Stanhope, New Jersey. After 16 years of teaching physical education and health, he was promoted to an administrator in the school district. He retired as the head football coach after the 2020 season. Over his 50-year career, there have been numerous awards and honors, including National High School Coach of the Year in 2003, Rutgers University's Dr. John Bateman Winners for Life Award, American Football Coach's Power of Influence Award, U.S. Army All-American Bowl Coach in 2011, a 14-time Football Coach of the Year, 7 state football championships, member of 6 Halls of Fame, now would be 7, New Jersey Football Coaches Hall of Fame, Lenape Valley Athletic Hall of Fame, Sussex County Coaches Hall of Fame, Johnson High School Hall of Fame, and NJSIAA Hall of Fame. Donald also presented at the American Football Coaches Annual Convention, the New Jersey Football Coaches Association, New Jersey Strength Coaches Association, Glacier Football Clinics, USA Football, Southeast Wing T Football Clinics, National Wing T Camps, Merrill Lynch, and the Department of Homeland Security. Comments from Donald, quote, "The awards and honors are truly humbling, but what made it all worthwhile were the special phone calls from a former player or a student who says, 'Coach, I am getting married. Coach, we had a baby. Coach, my dad passed away. Or Coach, I have cancer. Or when former players see you and introduce you to their children as, quote, their coach. People often ask me, what is your favorite memory over the 50 years? The answer is easy. Being able to have coached my son and then having him join our coaching staff. This special honor finishes a 50-year career journey that has given myself and my family a lifetime of wonderful memories. Donald Smolin will be giving a speech remotely, is that correct? Recorded? We will have that now.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Adams State University Educators Hall of Fame Committee, especially Angela Madrid, who helped guide me through this process. Also, I'd like to congratulate the other honorees here tonight. To be listed with you and all you have accomplished in your careers is very humbling. From the time I was a junior in high school, I wanted to be a teacher and a coach. However, what I needed was direction. I was attending Seton Hall University, but not succeeding in the classroom. Also, I was a volunteer football coach at my high school when I was introduced to Jim Attaway. Jim was a proud graduate of Adams State and encouraged me to apply in the spring of 1968. I enrolled that March and became a member of the football team. I loved every minute of my A-State experience. In September of 1971, I began a 50-year career in education that ended in March of 2020. I can truly say that there never was a day I didn't want to go to work, and I never wanted another job. I don't know how many people can truly say that. I feel your job is something you leave at the end of the day, but your work is everything you leave behind at the end of your career. As I look back, it was the guidance, structure, and personal interest from my professors that helped shape me into a lifelong educator. I believe if you truly hold true to why you teach and coach, where you do it becomes minuscule to the big scheme of it all. We as educators are striving to make a difference in these young men and women's lives, one day at a time and one student at a time. As a coach, we had a specific theme every year for our program, whether it was team, hard work, finish, or believe, just to name a few. As I receive this honor today, my personal theme is thankfulness and gratefulness. Thankful for the opportunity to attend Adams State, and grateful for the many people, professors, staff, and coaches who influenced and guided me along the journey. To any future educators who are viewing this tonight, I would like to offer a small bit of advice. You are our hope for a better future, the best and brightest we have to offer. Go make a difference. Don't talk about change, be about change. Find a mentor who will be your guiding light, your North Star, someone who at those critical times will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for this honor. Go A-State.
We doing okay, guys? We could bring Kathy back up here because I noticed when she hit the mic, all of you turned into little kindergartners going, "Aw." Our next honoree is Ann Stanford. Ann received her BA from Adams State College in 1986 and her master's in 1991. She had 31 years of educational service. Ann's career in teaching began in Adams State's Upward Bound program. She taught first-generation college students, preparing them for college-level science courses. She then worked as a secondary science teacher in both middle and high school for the Sanford School District. Ann relocated to Denver due to her husband's employment, where she taught at Good Shepherd Middle School and at Rocky Mountain Hebrew Academy. Upon returning to Alamosa, she taught science at Alamosa High School. After retiring, she taught part-time in the GED program and biological sciences area at Trinidad State Junior College. While Ann was a student at Adams State, she volunteered for the annual San Luis Valley Regional Science Fair. The Science Fair became an integral part of her teaching. Throughout Ann's career, she helped students develop their science fair projects. In addition, she helped other schools with having their own local science fairs. Ann took students annually to the SLV regional and Denver regional competitions and accompanied students to the state science fair in Fort Collins. Ann recalls one special memory that happened in '91 when she was selected as the Science Teacher of the Year. She was awarded a trip to the International Science Fair in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. She took 2 students from Creede, Colorado, and their project to the competition. This week-long fair was a rich experience that featured hundreds of students and teachers from the United States and other countries. Awards and special honors include 1986 Who's Who Among American Students, in 1991 San Luis Valley Science Teacher of the Year, in 1995 participant in the Cold Spring Harbor DNA and Forensics Seminar, University of Denver. Ann's hobbies include walking, gardening, and reading. We give you Ann Stanford.
Well, I'm delighted to be here tonight with all of you and your families and friends. And we are celebrating education and educators. I want to thank Adams State University for the Educator Hall of Fame Award. I can't believe I'm here, and it means so much to me. After all these years of teaching, I am honored and humbled by receiving this award. I always wanted to be a teacher. I was kind of a boring kid because when we got together in the neighborhood to play, I wanted to play school. But, you know, that wasn't a big thing. We just got home from school. Who wants to play school? So it was in me from the beginning. I had a chance to pursue my dream of becoming a teacher when my husband and I and our daughter relocated to the San Luis Valley from Denver in 1982 because he took a job with the 12th Judicial District. I was pretty excited because I got to enroll in Adams State, and I heard that that was a teacher's school. I didn't know too much about it. It was called, as was said before, Adams State College, and their motto was offering a quality education with a personal touch. And I liked that because I was older and what was called a non-traditional student. And so I was a little intimidated when I started. Well, this personal touch was for real, probably still is at Adams State, I'm sure it is. And as I slogged my way through lots of really hard science classes and also the training in teacher education, I got the personal touch. And I made it because of that. And I owe that big, huge thank you to Adams State professors, many of them. I never encountered one who didn't want to offer me extra time. The other thing that I found at Adams State was the San Luis Valley Regional Science Fair. As Dr. Garcia said earlier, this college is 102 years old. Well, the San Luis Valley Regional Science Fair is 74 years old. And they recruited me as a science student to participate in the science fair as an undergraduate, doing everything. Well, I'm still a volunteer for the science fair. So in between my undergraduate time and now, as was said in my credentials, I helped students with lots of projects and went to lots of science fairs, and I loved every minute of it because I just love science. And I think that it's important to have an adjunct type thing like this, especially in a secondary setting, where students they're starting to think about what they want to be and they can pursue their interests. And so science fair was sort of an auxiliary classroom for me to be able to work with students who had special curiosities about science. It provided a lot of great one-on-one work with students. I want to pay tribute tonight to my advisor at Adams State. She no longer works at Adams State, but she was dynamite. Her name was Dr. Carol Rogers, and she was a tough science teacher. And she molded me in ways that I carry with me today. She told me two things. Number one, students are first. Never forget that. Make yourself available to students. Number two, you must be a role model for science. You must be able to teach all students, but you must also attract women and minorities so that they can begin to feel the different fields of science. And I've tried to do that throughout my science career. So thank you, Dr. Rogers. I guess what's left is to thank my family. They certainly were first. I'd like to thank my daughter, Maureen, who during her busy high school years found ample time to lend a helping hand to Mom while she was going to school. And I'd like to thank my husband, Pat, who is here tonight, for encouraging me to go to college, to become a teacher, and encouraged me throughout my entire career and put up with all that work that I brought home. So thank you. And thank you again to Adams State. I have this little quote that I wanted to share with you. It is anonymous, but I thought it's kind of something that sticks with me. Teachers live forever in the hearts of those they touch. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ann. Our next inductee is Sherry Tierpak. Sherry received her BA in 1978 and her master's in 1981 from Adams State College. Sherry has dedicated 34 years to the education field. Sherry graduated magna cum laude from Adams State in '78, receiving her degree in secondary education with double majors in English and psychology. She began her career in education at Del Norte Middle School in the fall of 1978, where she taught 7th and 8th grade language arts. While working there, Sherry was chosen to attend the Colorado Department of Education Schools Climate Improvement Conferences, which eventually led to the addition of enrichment mini-courses at the middle school. In the summer of '81, Sherry received her MA in school counseling. In the fall of '81, she started counseling at Del Norte High School and also taught psychology, peer counseling, journalism, and later began a new gifted and talented program. During her tenure as a school counselor, Sherry received special recognition from the ASVAB test administrator. The administrator stated his appreciation for how polite the students were and how well Sherry had prepared the students to understand the purpose of the test. Sherry was proud of the kind recognition and always emphasized to her students that adults and visitors to their school should always be treated with respect. Throughout her 34 years with Del Norte Schools, she served in several different positions. Besides teaching in the traditional classroom, she also taught Title I language arts and math. Sherry was the accelerated reading coordinator and the middle school librarian. Regardless of what position she held at the time, she thoroughly enjoyed helping young people discover their full potential. After making the hard decision to retire, Sherry found adjusting to retirement wasn't easy. She took a part-time job working for her chiropractor while trying to figure out what to do next. She wanted to be free to travel, so she quit her part-time job and took a few, quote, bucket list trips with her younger daughter who had recently graduated from college. Sherry's hobby includes lots of reading, traveling to Texas often to visit family, going on long walks, working in her yard and flower gardens, bike riding, and exploring opportunities to perhaps become a snowbird in 2024. Comment from Sherry, quote, "One of the memories that definitely still stays with me involved a 13-year-old girl who confided to me after reading my class requirements that she had never read an entire age-appropriate book independently, so I helped her set a realistic goal. It was so gratifying to see that twinkle in her eyes when she proudly admitted she had completed her book and had actually enjoyed it. We give you Sherry Terpak.
Thank you very much for this award. It's very much appreciated, and I'm very grateful. And as all my students and my colleagues would agree, I tend to talk too much, so I'm not going to say too much, and I also tend to tear up. So I'm only going to say a couple of things, and then my dear friend, Jill, and colleague, former colleague, always a friend, is going to share a few things with you. But unlike the last couple of people that have said, oh yeah, I always wanted to be a teacher, I knew I wanted to be a teacher, no. People always ask that, so did you always want to become a teacher? Never. I was one of those lost souls that graduated having no earthly idea what I was going to do with my life. I remember the counselor calling us in one by one, and his question to me is, do you plan to go to college? And I said no. I was an honor student, mind you, and he did not ask why. He crossed me off the list and said, okay. So that was that. I did end up going to college, community college, to become a beautician. The rest, I did not plan. Someone else had bigger and better plans for me, and it all fell into place. I won't take the time to bore you how that all happened, but it was all orchestrated by someone other than myself. And I ended up teaching in 1978 with a 2-year-old at home. And once I met my first students, I knew I was in the right place. And I stuck around for 34 years, so I was convinced through my colleagues that I brought with me tonight. One of the perks of teaching, that I met some other outstanding teachers, and I was very, very privileged. It made it hard to retire. But I'd like to introduce Jill Martinez. She was Jill Schumann when I first met her, and so I'll turn it over to Miss Jill.
I might be that 13-year-old. Thank you, Adams State, for the support of exceptional educators, and in particular of recognizing Sherry Terpak. Although I'm a career educator myself, I first encountered Sherry as my language arts teacher in 7th and 8th grade. And being a non-reader who struggled academically and having a serious speech impediment, causing very poor reading skills, I loved her language arts class. Ms. Terpak had an end-year culminating project of creating a communication book, and I had no problem talking. Even though I struggled with reading, I just loved her class and her methods of teaching and her creativity, which allowed my creativity to flourish and enabled me to recognize my intelligence and my potential when other teachers struggled to establish a connection and to understand my unique academic needs. By the way, she kept that project and returned it to me as an adult. To some, that might be an insignificant coincidence, but to me it was an important action that showed her faith in me and her appreciation of my ability. She believed in me. She helped me see my potential. But it wasn't just with struggling learners that she was connected. My husband, who's here with me tonight, also had her in 8th grade. And yeah, we were sweethearts in middle school. He excelled in every single subject, but it was the encouragement of his language arts teacher who repeatedly shared with him her ability to see him at a university that encouraged this first-generation college graduate of Adams State to see himself at a university as well. Now, we all recognize the importance today and here of having students see themselves in these positions of power and leadership. But back then that was different. She saw it and quietly and persistently instilled a belief in him. And on another level, she taught my children. And many educators would agree that having a friend's child or children can be a challenging experience because we all think of our children as, the best little, most precious pieces of ourselves. But with them, she instilled same thing, skills, saw to their growth, taught them, never faltering on her expectation of their academic development, their confidence, and their self-esteem, but insisting on compassion and respect. She demanded her students to behave in kind and compassionate ways and have discipline in their study to uncover their own ability. It's kind of like that old adage, she was not the sage on the stage, she was the guide on the side, and she helped students see themselves in a positive way. She taught by example. She had a sense of justice, and there was never an issue. My children are also very different, but my daughter Caitlin would verbalize often how important it was. She didn't want to work in a class with a teacher or an instructor that she didn't think really cared about her honestly. She felt that in Sherry's class. Sherry sowed those seeds. She was a student of her students. And what makes it really interesting and why this was kind of difficult for my children going into her class is because at that time we were colleagues. And so we taught on the same teaching team. In fact, it was myself, Ms. Tierpak, and Mr. Horrocks. And she never once stepped back from continuing to support me as an adult educator. She wrote recommendations for fellowships, proofread thesis proposals, brainstormed how to teach that ever so resistant learner. And as a team, we worked diligently on how to provide the best education we possibly could to our students. We were working together as standardized testing in Colorado became that gold standard, and yet we never, and she never, lost sight of looking for that balance between making sure we were addressing the needs of state testing, standards-based education, best practices, and research, because at the heart of it, she had the art of teaching. And given any and every specific research strategy by itself does not ensure successful teaching. The one thing that Sherry did and always did, one of the most impressive things about her, is her service to others. Whether it was students or colleagues, she noticed your feelings, cared about your heart, reminded you that you were important because of your being. Not your grades, not your status, just your existence made you important. She served her profession through professionalism, but equally important, she loved students and loved others. She lived her expectation of others. It doesn't hurt that she had this great sense of humor. Erin can attest to that. She didn't bring it out very often. It's super dry, but it was always at the most opportune moments when we needed someone to pick us up and push us forward. And she did that. She mastered the blending of teaching, the science of teaching with the art of teaching. She saw value in students' work and value in students' beings. She exemplifies a true educator. And you are correct in honoring her tonight for this profession. And I am lucky to call her my colleague, my advisor, my friend, and forever and most importantly, my teacher.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our secondary educators. It'd be appropriate at this time if you want to stand and remove some edema from your feet. If you could stand up just a second, we'll take a very, very quick break and then proceed.
Make those miracles happen. Nobody does it alone. But if you're down and you wanna be up, you wanna drink from the winner's cup, you gotta make those miracles happen on your own. You've been waiting a long, long time, and you know you're a winner too. You're a winner too. Hear me when I tell you, there's just one thing you can do. Show the world you're a winner, and hit it again and again. And you get a miracle going, 'cause winners always win. You gotta make those miracles happen. Make those miracles happen. Nobody does it alone. But if you're down and you wanna be up, you wanna drink from the winner's cup, you gotta make those miracles happen on your own. Make those miracles happen. Make those miracles happen. Nobody does it alone. Red and orange. But if you're down and you wanna be up, you wanna drink from the winner's cup, you gotta make those miracles happen on your own. Make those miracles. You gotta make those miracles happen on your own. Make those miracles. You gotta make those miracles happen on your own. Make those miracles. You gotta make those miracles.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and reconvene. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, let's give a hand to those that have provided refreshments and a light meal tonight. Thank you so much. You in the corner, we appreciate that. We will now convene with our next category of inductees, administrators. We proceed by introducing Tammy DeWolf. Tammy received her BA from Western State College in '90 and MA from Adams State University in 2003. She has dedicated 29 years in education. Tammy received an Associate of Arts degree from Trinidad State Junior College in 1986. She was fortunate enough to be awarded a women's basketball scholarship a financial Pell Grant, and a work-study job that allowed her to attend college. Without that assistance, her desire of becoming a physical education teacher would never have happened. For that, she is truly grateful. In 1990, Tammy graduated from Western State College in Gunnison, Colorado. Shortly thereafter, she was offered and accepted an elementary physical education teaching position at Lincoln School in Canyon City, Colorado. Little did she know she would spend her entire professional career at this unique little school. In 2003, Tammy graduated from Adams State University with an MA degree in educational leadership. Her Colorado administrator's license became effective in January of '04. In '05, she was offered and accepted the principalship of Lincoln School. This 29-year career in the same building as both an educator and an administrator was a rare occurrence and still may be in today's profession. Tammy is grateful for the generational relationships with so many Lincoln students, parents, and grandparents. Her most cherished memories are the relationships formed with the dedicated Lincoln School staff and her Canyon City Schools District's colleagues. It is these relationships she misses most since her retirement in 2019. Tammy's special honors include in 1986, Who's Who Among Junior Colleges, in 1990, Western State College of Colorado, cum laude. In '93, Colorado Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance Young Professional Award. And in 2017, National Distinguished Elementary Principal for Colorado finalist. Ladies and gentlemen, Tammy DeWolf.
So Tammy said she wanted to share her 5 minutes, and then when we found out 2, I was like, okay, no, and she made me anyways. But I would say, Tammy would always say, an opportunity to speak in front of my peers as a new leader myself of a building is always a good opportunity for potential positive impact on our students. So I am going to share with you all a quote from a colleague that was shared with me. A veteran teacher, building leader, and now teacher development coach in our district, Miss Kelly Albright, who's a 2-time Adams State graduate, as am I, said it best when she said, "Tammy is an inspiration to all of us who have had the privilege to work with her. When I was a rookie principal, I often called on her for advice and encouragement. She's the epitome of professionalism. She is positive, efficient, intelligent, approachable, relatable, reliable, passionate, and enthusiastic. I can tell you when I was faced with a challenging situation, I would often think, what would Tammy do? WWTD." Thank you.
Well, I'm rather humbled this evening for the award. I'm 4 years retired now, and this was relatively a shock to me. So I appreciate standing before you today and representing my family, my Lincoln School family, and my Canyon City School colleagues. If I could break down a roughly 30-year career into 3 general topics tonight, I would say people, results, and Adams State changed my life. People, we're in the work profession about people. It's about lifting people up, bringing out potential in children, families, and community. I'm honored to say I had 2 exceptional mentors during my education years, and I want to thank them. Principal and Director Debbie Blackwell and Principal Kurt Webb. Debbie, thank you for taking a chance on this college student and believing in me. Kurt Webb, he taught me so much regarding principalship. It's really, there's too much to say. Probably if I could narrow it down to one thing, Mr. Webb, you taught me how to take care of people, take care of people in the workforce so that they loved coming to work and they could produce their best work at the workplace. So, Mr. Webb, thank you so much for setting the standard of which I still strive to reach. Jessica speaks about what would Tammy do? Well, and Kelly speaks to that too. Well, when I walked the halls as an administrator, I was saying the same thing. What would Debbie and what would Kurt do in this situation? So I appreciate mentorship, and I hope I've been able to pass it on to the next generation. Results. Results separate average from elite. And I would be remiss if I did not speak to my faculty at Lincoln School of Science and Technology about the results that they achieved. We turned a turnaround school, according to Colorado CMAS proficiency standards, into a 10-year running, high-performing school with a high achievement of 74.8%. I appreciate the hard work that those teachers did to make that happen. When Colorado student growth decreased in 2016 by 8%, Lincoln School student growth increased by 6% that very same year. During our time at Lincoln School, we transformed a traditional elementary school to a school of science and technology. This happened during a $3.4 million state reduction in funding. We did our own fundraising, our own grant writing, in order to produce Promethean interactive boards in every classroom and mobile devices in the fingertips of children so that they could open up their world from the brick and mortar school that we were into what the possibilities of the world have for them. I'm proud of that work, and I'm proud of the teachers with their rigor and their determination to get that done. Our culture sustained 10 years with a discovery culture. Student office referrals were 364 in the year 2001. We then turned that around to less than 84 student office referrals over a 10-year running period. That work makes me proud, and I'm just glad I had a chance to be a part of the leadership within that. Adams State, I want to say thank you. Frankly, I never wanted to become an elementary school principal or have a master's degree in educational leadership. I simply was topped out at the salary scale, and I needed to make more money. So how can I make more money? Sherry, I want to thank you. My partner of 24 years, she decided to persuade me to get my first master's degree as she was getting her second Adams State master's degree. I would have never done it without her support, and I thank you for turning my trajectory into leadership because I have loved it. It's been one of the best jobs anyone could ever have. Adams State, I challenge you and I encourage you to recruit heavily right now. We are in an educator and administrative teaching shortage. Jessica has several vacancies and few to no candidates applying. We need Adams State and the education department more than we've ever needed it before. We need competent, exceptional teachers in front of kids. I hope you can find the answers that led me to choose your program. Affordable pricing, a cohort in a location that was near my full-time work, so it was manageable. Instructors from across Colorado that had experience. I appreciate the 18-month program. Those reasons helped me choose Adams State. The world's different now. Tap into our young people. Recruit at high schools. Catch them early. Look at alternative licensing. We need teachers. We need you more than ever. On behalf of Lincoln School, my family, the next generation of leaders, Canyon City Schools, I want to thank the selection committee for choosing our body of work to become a 2023 Hall of Fame inductee. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Our next inductee and final administrator this year is Emma Ray Martinez. Emma Ray Martinez, PhD, received her bachelor's in psychology and master's in school counseling from Adams State College in 1977 and 78. She completed her educational specialist degree in 1991 from Point Loma Nazarene College and her doctorate from Northern Arizona University in 1995. She has spent 45 years in education. In her own words, quote, "As I accept this prestigious award and think back over my career, my greatest emotion is gratitude. I am grateful to my dad, Leo, who nurtured my independence and carried my report card in his wallet. My mother and role model, Marbella, who started college at 42 and finished her bachelor's degree in 3 years. My tia Maria, who said, 'Come on, Emma Ray, we are taking the ACT.' My sons Gabriel and Leo, who are great athletes. Thus, the team's parents made sure they didn't miss a game or practice because I was working on advanced degrees and couldn't always get them there. My son Nate, who had the misfortune of attending the schools where I worked. To all my aunts who have no fear. To my grandmothers Emma and Mary. Emma, who taught me the value of hard work and only sitting down after the work was done, and Mary, who taught me confidence and love without bounds," end quote. A note from a colleague says that throughout her 45 years in the educational field, she has served students in numerous roles, including elementary teacher, gifted and talented teacher, school counselor, vice principal, principal, and superintendent. The summation of her educational career was served as superintendent of schools at South Conejo School District in Antonito, Colorado. Dr. Martinez aspired to one day return to the San Luis Valley to serve the students of her home. During Dr. Martinez's 6 years in the district, she was able to establish practices to support curriculum and instruction, bring the district out of financial hardship, and grow a strong team that will continue to fulfill her legacy after her retirement. Her leadership has led South Conejo School District into a brighter future that did not seem possible only a short while ago. With Dr. Martinez retiring, her influence will continue to be evident through the students, teachers, and staff she has loved, cared for, and mentored since 1978. Dr. Emma Ray Martinez.
I feel like this is Academy Awards. And I have to tell you that I got so excited when I got the email that I didn't read it all the way to the bottom, so I didn't know I was giving a 2-minute speech. So this may be shorter than 2 minutes. In line with the gratitude and appreciation, I want to thank my guests here tonight, Joyce Duran and Christy Duran, who are school board members and gave me the opportunities to serve the students of South Conejo School District. My greatest gratitude. To my right-hand person, Tori, who always made me look good even when I didn't deserve it. Thank you. To my childhood friends, Paula and Ada, who always remind me of my roots and when my head gets too big. My Hooper buddy, Leah Chavez. And last but not least, my sister Carla, who I love dearly and taught me the art of hand-to-hand combat. So I love all of you, and thank you so much.
Moving on to our post-secondary educators, we now recognize Patricia Robbins, PhD, received in her BA and MA degree in 1993 and 1996 from Adams State College, PhD from Kennedy Western University in 1999, AAS degree from Otero Junior College in 1974. Dr. Robbins has dedicated 26 years of service to the educational profession. Patricia, known as Pat Robbins, is a professor emeritus in the School of Business at Adams State University. She has taught a variety of business classes, including Women in Power, Gender, Business and Leadership, Leadership Strategies, Business Law, Healthcare Administration, Healthcare Medical Terminology, Entrepreneurship, and Small Business Management. Pat began teaching at Adams State in 2008 and served as department chair from 2015 through 19. She also taught from 1994 through 2008 at Trinidad State Junior College and served as division chair and director of outreach education. Pat was faculty advisor for Phi Beta Lambda at both Adams State and TSJC and faculty advisor for Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society and Sigma Beta Delta Honor Society. Pat has also written and published numerous papers, articles, and presentations throughout her 26 years in education. Awards include the 94 NBEA Award of Merit, 97 a Faculty Member of the Year at Trinidad State College. From 2011 through 15, the Colorado Business Educators Executive Board of Directors. 14 and 15 served as president of the Board of Colorado Business Educator Executive Board of Directors. In 2013, Patricia served Colorado Business Educators, or BEST, Belong, Excel, Study, Teach, Travel, Technology Award. In 02 and 06, received Phi Theta Kappa Horizon Award for Chapter Advisors. In 04, received the Phi Theta Kappa Regional Distinguished Chapter Advisor. And in 2015, the Mountain Plains Business Education Association Collegiate Teacher of the Year. A comment from colleagues: Pat is highly intelligent and hardworking individual. She put tremendous time and effort into her classes, and her students love and respect her. Pat exhibits leadership skills in her life. She is motivated to accomplish her goals and is very efficient at managing her time. She is the most organized person I have ever met. I believe it would be a disservice to Adams State, the faculty and students, and the community at large to not include her in the Educators Hall of Fame. And today she is Patricia Robbins.
Thank you, Dr. Linda Reed, for the nomination. I know you're watching. Wish you were here. At the age of 34, I made the decision to go back to school to finish my education because I always wanted to be a teacher. It's as simple as that. At least it was for me. My baby sister is here, and she was my first student, and she wasn't a very good student, I have to say. But she graduated from college before I did. I was a non-traditional first-generation student. And because I always wanted to be a teacher, I did not think that would ever be possible. Where I come from, college is for people that are smart and financially secure. I was neither one, or at least I didn't think so. I took a leap of faith and enrolled at Adams State. 4 years later, I earned a BA in business, teacher education, and I also received a minor in English. I graduated summa cum laude. I say that because I was not summa cum laude material before that. I knew I wasn't. So I accepted my first teaching position in 1994 at Trinidad State. I was pursuing a master's degree while teaching there within a year. I taught, of course, on weekdays. On weekends, they were dedicated to prepping and grading for my students, writing those never-ending papers for a master's degree. And then, of course, nights I went to school and summers I went to school. It was what I had to do. I had to get done. I was behind. I was a late bloomer. So all of this going on with my very supportive husband, Jim Robbins, sitting over there. He is the wind beneath my wings. I know it's corny, but it's really true. He absolutely is. I also was raising 2 young sons who I'm pretty sure they thought their mom was a professional student. It probably looked like that at the time. They're also sitting over there. I earned a master's degree, ultimately a PhD, and attained the rank as tenured professor of business. Then in 2008, I took another leap of faith. I joined the faculty at Adams State in the School of Business. And during that time, I also attained the rank of professor of business. And during some of those 26 years that I taught in total, 5 of those years was department chair, Adams State School of Business. I retired, wait a minute. Yes, I want to say that. I'm sorry. After 26 years of collegiate teaching, I retired in 2020, Professor Emeritus for the School of Business. The very best thing about teaching is the students, flat out, no questions. That's always the best thing. Whether you have them in the classroom, whether you are advising clubs, and as you can see, I advised a lot of clubs, traveled for competitions, or even if it's just a conversation in my office or in the hallway, it's always the best. It never gets old. It's always something new. It is truly a calling. I endeavored to instill in my students the same thing that my professors instilled in me, and that is knowledge and confidence to succeed. Teaching is the very best job in the world, at least it was for me. I can't imagine doing anything else with my life. Through it all, I never forgot who I am. A shy little girl from the eastern plains of Colorado who had a big dream. Thank you to my husband Jim, again, my family who's here. My sons are here, my grandson is here, my son-in-law is here, my daughter-in-law is here, grandkids are here, and of course my baby sister, who's 5 years younger, but I had to catch up with her. She was the smart one, always. She's a social worker, just saying. But she's a really good one. She's a really good one. Thank you also to Adams State University. It was Adams State College when I went to school here, Adams State University when I worked here. Thank you, and thank you to the committee, the selection committee, teacher education department for this very special honor. You guys are just the best. Thank you so much.
Our final inductee tonight in an expanded category, after discussion with the Committee of Professional Staff, Lois Widhelm. Lois began a 30-year career in education beginning in 1969 and in the Department of Teacher Education at Adams State College. And I'm truly grateful to her for her personal help and assistance in helping this one achieve. At her request, she will have someone read a briefer version. That sounds like Lois, get it done. We will honor that request.
Thank you, Curtis, for allowing me to have this opportunity to introduce Ms. Lois Whittham. My name is Donna Griego. I'm a 3-time alumna of Adams State University. I retired from Adams State after 30 years of service, and I'm also a former trustee. And in my tenure here at Adams State, one individual I have worked with that has impacted teacher education is Lois Whittham. Lois began a 30-year career in the Department of Teacher Education. The School of Education and Behavioral Science housed not only the Department of Teacher Ed, but the departments of Psychology, Sociology, and EPLS. Later, the School of Education included graduate programs. Lois not only served as program specialist, but also assistant dean. She established a commitment to working with students seeking a career as a teacher or an administrator. Adams State's tagline, "Quality Education with a Personal Touch," was clearly demonstrated in Lois's professional ethic. Lois was very involved in the preparation of the NCATE and the CDE accreditation visits. Through the years, Adams State's teacher education program continued to have the highest of recommendations. CDE's requirements are that all prospective candidates for the professional education program pass State of Colorado required basic competencies in English, mathematics, and spelling at prescribed levels as measured by the California Achievement Test, the CAT test, before admissions to professional program and teacher education, and before they could apply for Colorado licensure. Lois organized this entire testing and data collection. With these new CDE testing requirements, Lois recognized the high standards the department expected every teacher ed student to meet. She created and implemented an application process for admission to the professional education program, which began with the beginning of the CAT testing and prerequisite classes, and was followed by completion of the professional education classes and ultimately an interview prior to student teaching placement. Soon after, the CAT was replaced with the PLACE exam. Lois retired from Adams State in 1999. However, her love of education and a commitment to the institution continued into her next career. She was elected as Alamosa's county treasurer and public trustee in 2006 and served for 13 years. She continued her relationship with Adams State. She hosted business education interns in her office. Lois was active in the Colorado State Treasurers Association, serving as chair of the Continuing Education Committee. She actively worked to plan a certification program for active elected treasurers and public trustees to educate them on state statutes, which governed the administration of treasurers' offices in 65 counties. The program led to a certification of completion. This is the only elected officials group that has such a program in Colorado. Lois has remained committed to Adams State's teacher education program her entire professional career, a career that spanned 30 years of service to then Adams State College, with over 2,000 students crossing her desk. Lois indeed was a friend, a mentor, an advisor, an educator. Lois has demonstrated a significant service to Adams State University and to the overall community, and I am pleased that she is being inducted into the Educators Hall of Fame. And ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Lois Whittham.
Thank you. Donna and I agreed that we wouldn't look at each other because one of us would start crying. So I'll just ignore you for the moment.
That's perfectly fine.
Thank you very much, Donna. I am very humbled and honored to be inducted into the Adams State Educators Hall of Fame. I extend congratulations to my fellow inductees and to all of those that have preceded us. Thank you, Dr. Garcia. Thank you, President Tanberg and Mr. Wilson, for being scared of me all of those many years ago. To the nomination committee for your kind consideration of the new category. And also to Angela, who has worked diligently to provide this for many, many people that have been honored. I'd like to recognize Angela. I am very grateful to so many that have made this happen, beginning with Donna Griego, who organized my nomination. I am especially grateful to all the educators, administrators, and students that supported my nomination and submitted letters of support. My career actually began in teacher education in 1969 with Dr. George Huggins. Now, I want to lighten the moment just a little bit, because when I went into Dr. Huggins' office, I don't know if he thought I was there to apply for back then they called it the secretary position, or was I the candidate that he had requested to train to work with student teachers. He asked me to sit down in front of a Royal typewriter, the kind that we used to have to flip the handle and it would take the carriage back and forth. Well, I thought I was looking pretty darn good that day because I had pop beads on for a necklace, and they caught on the slide as it went across the typewriter. Pop beads went everywhere. So I didn't know whether to walk into Dr. Huggins' office and just say, "I'm sorry, I'll just start over," or what we were going to do. He said, in his kindest voice, "Just pick up those pop beads, put your necklace back together, and let's get to work." And that's where I began working with him and being trained on the procedures for placement of student teachers throughout Colorado. Through the years, I was able to work with outstanding faculty, administrators, and students. I also had the best work-study students on campus. They were outstanding, and we became family. I could not have done my job without all of them. Even though my background was in business administration, and I did not hold a licensure myself, I spent my career at Adams State dedicated to the preparation of teachers, 30 years. It was not difficult to place student teachers in the public schools because of the reputation held by the Adams State School of Education and Behavioral Science. Public school personnel knew the students I was seeking to place had met high standards in the program and were well prepared. They wanted Adams State students. They still do. I worked closely with students entering the professional education program, which led to eligibility for teacher licensure in Colorado. Through the years, I have enjoyed witnessing the successes of students I worked with in their public school or counselor education careers. I celebrate and thank all teachers for their commitments and dedications to students. I'm so honored to have listened to all of you that are teachers and administrators that have fulfilled your dreams, and I helped you get there. I will always be a cheerleader for ASU and educators. And Ms. Stanford, when you spoke about the quality education with the personal touch, I shared that same sentiment in my program notes, and thank you for bringing that up as well. So right now, I thank you all. I hope you've enjoyed the evening as much as I have. but it's time for me to do what I did in 1969, pick up my necklace and get back to work. Oh, gosh, I don't want to leave without my presents. That's right. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the conclusion of this tonight, I'd like to take the opportunity to have a group photo of the inductees immediately following the closing, and we do this right over here against this wall. Let's do that prior to individual pictures or communications, because we certainly want to publicize that. Gratitude for the tech crew. Gratitude for those that made this venue possible. Thank you. Express gratitude for all those that showed and those that are on the live feed tonight. Also to the committee, really appreciate the honor of being a servant with you. For Dr. Garcia and his continued leadership, we certainly appreciate him. Dr. Tenberg, we wish you the best. You just keep holding that cat by the tail, and we support you. And thank you, Ted Morrison, for having the moxie and the vision to start things like this that recognize the quality of people that we have in our presence tonight. Thank you. We have had the honor tonight to be among winners, and we're grateful for that. As an old coach quoted long ago, winning is a habit. Unfortunately, so is losing. You don't win once in a while, you don't do things right once in a while, you do them right all the time. Thank you for living careers worthy of emulation. We honor you tonight. One big hand for all our inductees. Thank you. We could have the inductees come on over, please.